Hi everyone, it's me, B at Kelly Sunflower. So I'm on today to do the hashtag 54321 tarot, and it's a video response to Kelly Bear. So I was tagged into this hashtag by Julie from Peekable Rose. So the first question is 5 tarot decks, and the theme that I've decided to use for this is 5 independent decks published in the UK. So the first deck that I want to show you is called the Anne of Green Gables Tarot Cards. So it came with a little guidebook, backs of the cards, beautiful, pigtails, hat, books, and it's just a Rider-Waite-Smith deck around the Anne Gables theme. It's quite interesting, quite whimsical. I've enjoyed using this deck. So the second tarot deck is another Kickstarter deck, and this is called Wisdom of the Depts Tarot by Lynn Thurman. Again, it comes with a little white book. These are the backs of the cards, kind of like octopuses and stuff like that. And this tarot deck is kind of like water themed. So I'll show you some of the cards. Stacey, that's the back. It's quite inclusive. This beautiful Four of Pentacles, isn't she cute? So this deck was also a Kickstarter deck, but I actually bought this from Miranda from Woo Boutique, and it's called Everyday Tarot First Edition. It kind of reminds me of the Mr. Men, and if I can remember, I think there's also like an Oracle deck included in this deck. So you've got some Oracle cards, so that's an Oracle card. I haven't put these back in order because I've been using it quite a bit. But very plain. These are the backs of the cards. The cardstock to me was quite slippery. So for me they were a bit difficult to shuffle. But I do like the artwork, because I do like the Mr. Men characters, or I used to when I was a child. So this is the Everybody's Tarot. My next deck is the Texured Tarot. I love this deck. So the Nine of Wands, it was changed because I think people complained about the man being naked and stuff. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with somebody being naked, but that's what happened, and the author changed this card to this card. But I actually prefer the original card. This deck is modern. It's inclusive. Look at that. Queen of Cups, somebody in the wheelchair. So it represents different races, different ages, different abilities. I really do like this deck. People have complained about it being too thick, but as an overhand shuffler, I find this deck perfect. Oops, daisy. So this is the Textured Tarot. And the final deck that I want to show you is the Painted Tarot by Sophie McKay Knight. I haven't used this deck for quite a while, but I absolutely love the aesthetic of this deck. All the images are kind of hand painted because the creator Sophie McKay Knight is an artist. The backs of the deck, it's got drops of paint on a laminated wooden floor. I haven't used this deck for quite a while, but I think I'm going to use it as part of my autumn decks because it's got to me like a very autumn feel. It's inclusive and I just love it. All the kings seem to be like in black and white, but the other cards are in colour. Four books. So I've kind of got 5 books because 2 books to me are a pair. So that's why I've chosen 5 books. So the first book is called the Yes No Tarot Oracle by Eleanor Piper, and it's just a basic yes no. So if you're doing a 1-card spread for yourself and that, or if you know this book by heart and somebody wants a yes no answer, it kind of tells you. So for example, the 5 of Wands is a no, and it tells you why it's a no. I mean, it gives you like a bit of a blurb about the upright meaning and the reverse meaning. Very nice, short, straight to the point guidebook. Next tarot kind of book is called FortunateTarot Poetry by Kim Rashidi. So this book is just basically poetry. So each of the cards has a poem to it. So it's got the 8 of Wands. So let me read you out the Page of Pentacles. Your outer is your inner. What you see is real, and what you feel is realer. If material abundance is what you seek, then align your worlds and speak of the life you wish to lead. So it just gives you some poetry for each of the cards, and the poetry associated to the card actually describes to me the card's meaning as well. So if you're a person that you learn in rhyme or you learn by song, this will be a good guidebook, in my opinion, to buy. So Kim Rashidi has also written another book called Only Alive on Sundays. So it's a novel, but each chapter is a tarot card. So I'll just read you a bit from the back. Written using tarot cards, this book is a case study in desire and a yearning for living in the present. A young woman explores love and obsession's ties to devotion, looking for the holy in acts of existence such as friendship, decorative towels, and nectarines. She treads the line between deciphering the universe signs and longing for forbidden fruits. So each chapter has got a tarot card heading. To his strength. Chapter 3, Clouded Judgment, and so on and so forth. So this is quite an unusual tarot book because it's more of a novel, but it still kind of uses all of the archetypes, I think, in the major arcana for each chapter. So the last 2 books, which I think go together because they're by the same author and they've got the same name, is the Open-Minded Tarot. So the first one is a practical guide. I'll just give you some of the content page. So it gives you a bit about the tarot background and helpful information, what is the querent, traditions, about the deck, the minor and the major arcana, reading the tarot cards, so learning to read combinations, practical information, how to conduct a reading, and so on and so forth. And to me, it's really well kind of written, and it gives really nice explanations, because I prefer books that are written in plain English and are short to the point. I don't like waffly type of books. So this for me is quite good. And then it's also got like a bit of numerology. So for example, the 4s: consequences, enjoyment, jealousy, greed, delay, apathy, boredom, vigor. And then there's like a workbook to test you, to see if you've understood the book. So it talks about getting comfortable with your cards, gives you minor and major arcana exercises. And for each of the exercises, at the back of the book, it gives you the answers. However, some of the exercises, there is no right or wrong answer. So for example, this exercise here, take a look at the list of people and decide which cards you associate with them or their lives. People are multifaceted, so lay more than one card if you think it applies. There's no right or wrong answer. Trust your intuition. So it's got things like Tony Blair, Marilyn Monroe, the Prime Minister of your country, Vincent van Gogh, you know, Elizabeth Taylor, Abraham Lincoln, Mahatma Gandhi, and so on and so forth. I think this exercise is good for the court cards, or just learning in general. If you're a person like me who assigns card meanings to personalities of people, this will be a very good way to learn the tarot. So 4s, which of these 4s remind you of various 4s? So it's got here, the querent is planning a holiday in Mexico. So if I go to the back of the book, where it says 4s, 4A, the answer to that is 4 of Wands. So B, the querent went through a rough time 5 years ago and still can't get himself together. And it's got here the 4 of Swords. ID. I'm not sure what the ID means. So, but that's the kind of gist of the book. So it kind of like helps you kind of get the tarot meanings in your long-term memory. So once you've read this book, which is the Open-Minded Tarot, this workbook kind of tests you to see if you've remembered what you've read. 3, which is spreads. I do love a tarot spread, and I've got loads of tarot spreads, you know, in my spread folder. But I'm just going to show you three of my most common spreads that I use. So the first spread is called the deck interview spread, and this is the spread that I use when I interview my decks. And most of my decks, once I start working with them, I like to give them an interview to see if I'm going to gel the deck or whatever. And this one here is from Beth from the Little Red Tarot. So normally when you buy a deck from her, she normally puts this spread card in. So this one has 6, but I tend to read it as 7, only because the 4th one has 2 questions. So tell me about yourself. What is your most important characteristic? What are your strengths as a deck? What are your limits as a deck? What do you require from me in return? How can I best collaborate with you? What is the potential quality of our relationship? And what is your guidance for me today? And I do find that if the how can I best collaborate with you is kind of like a reverse card or a negative card, I do find that I do have issues relating to the deck. The next spread that I love to use is the Celtic Cross. I like to use a 10 card spread. So card 1, where are you right now? Card 2, potential or challenges. So if the card's upright, I read it as potential, and if the card's reversed, I read it as challenges. what to focus on. Card 4, your past. Card 5, your strengths. Card 6, your near future. Card 7, suggested approaches. Card 8, what you need to know. Card 9, your hopes and fears. Card 10, your potential. So the next spread is the 3-card spread. I use free card spreads for different situations. So I've got one for love, one for employment, and blah, 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 blah. This one here is a general one. So if I've got like a specific situation that I want an answer for, I use this one. So the first card is usually what's working in your favor. The second card is what's working against you. And the third card is what you need to focus on to move forward. So this is the advice card. So these are the most common spreads that I use. Okay, so 2 tarot habits and or paraphernalia. I'm going to go for the 2 tarot habits. So the first tarot habit that I have is when I first open up a pack of tarot cards, I go through every single card to make sure that there's no missing cards in the deck. And I also flip through the guidebook to see if it's got reverse meanings, because for some reason I like my guidebooks to have reverse meanings. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have reverse meanings, but I always look out to see if it does have reverse meanings. This deck didn't have reverse meanings. My second tarot habit is to put the cards into suits. So, and pack them in a particular style. So, for example, I have the major cards first. Then I do the wands, the cups, the swords, and the pentacles. I like my decks to be in that particular order. So I kind of like repack the decks, if they're not in that order, into that order, so that I can work with them. One piece of tarot advice or a card you wish to embody and why. So I'm going to choose one piece of tarot advice. So my advice for learning the tarot is get a notebook or however, or journal your cards so that you can devise your own terms for each card. There's no right or wrong terms in tarot. And then once you've learnt the tarot in your own way, combine the meanings with your intuition. Because sometimes for me, when I'm reading tarot cards, I might get an intuitive hit, and what I'm feeling from that card isn't necessarily the meaning of that card that I've assigned to it. So that there's nothing wrong with using your gut as well when reading cards, and there's no right or wrong way to read tarot. And then there was a bonus question, which was to tag people. And my answer to that question is, I tag all those who want to do this hashtag, but haven't yet been tagged in. So thank you so much, Kelly Bear, for devising this wonderful hashtag. I will add links to the guidebooks and tarot cards if I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.